Hi everyone, I am excited to demo today one of the most important OSINT methodologies to find someone called pivoting. Most of you are probably aware of this, but I'm going to show you an example of how to do this. Agenda is simple. We start with a piece of information, we pivot off of that, we get more info, we pivot off of that, and rinse and repeat. We keep doing it until we find what we're looking for. A little bit about myself. You already probably know. You can OSINT me. I won't bore you with all of this. But before I start, just a disclaimer. Every time we do something of this nature, we make sure we cover our tracks by using sock puppet accounts. That's probably the most important one. VPNs, alias accounts. Let's not leave our tracks to the bad guys. Let's jump straight into this. The way I start usually these presentations is I open up a notepad and I open up a browser window. I've pre-populated some of these things, and I start noting things down. Pretty raw way of doing it, but this is the fastest way. And then I formalize it later on. So we start with a target. Now, every time I've done this, it's hard to do OSINT without doxing a person. I usually pick a public figure, a celebrity, or a politician, and there's enough information about them, so it's easier to demo. For the purposes of pivoting, let's choose an actual target, which no one will mind if we kind of dox in a way. So let's look at, I don't know, top 10 sex offenders. Let's say a wanted list. Let's see what comes up. Let's click on the first link, and we find Texas's 10 most wanted sex offenders. There's some reward for some of these. Some have been captured. Let's pick on this guy here. William Daniel Clifford, $3,000 reward. What's his offense? He failed to register as a sex offender, born in Louisiana, some basic information here, out of Texas, aggravated assault to a child. Yeah, so a lot of bad stuff. So he served some time in jail, but now there's a reward for his capture. Okay, what seed information do we have here? We have a full name. Let's start with that. I'll copy paste that in. He has a very common name, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to find. There's Texas here, so we know this person is in Texas. That's pretty much it. From here on, I would look at multiple pictures. Here's a way to pivot off of. I'll take the first picture and I'll go through something called PIMIze, which is a reverse image search using some AI. And that'll be my first start because I have a picture. So now I have certain different types of pictures which weren't in this one. So it's mugshots.com. I can see here it says mugshots.com. So let's go to mugshots.com and let's put in his name here. So this is our first pivot off of a name. Very quickly we find the same person, same information. Let's see. Got a date of birth, height, weight. None of that is going to help us. You notice 8/10/1973. Here the date of birth was 8/10/1971, so slightly different. This needs to be verified, so you can't trust everything you see online. So we'll just note this down as well. So we have some conflicting information, doesn't matter. What else do we have? We have an address, Longview, Texas. So let's replace this with something more accurate. Now we're getting more and more information. Same thing, aggravated sexual assault of a minor. So from this point onwards, I would verify some of his information. Since this is legal info, I would go to a site like Judy Records, put in his full name, a place, Longview, Texas, click on search. I should find official records, Harris County. So I now know which county issued this arrest or bond or whatever this is. So here it has a 1971 date of birth. That's more accurate. Same offenser. Let's see if we can find something else. A phone number, no. A different address, no. Same Longview, Texas. List of his stuff. If I had time, I would go over all of these things. But now I need to verify this information. So I would go to Harris County's website, which is here. I've preloaded this. Go under criminal record cases and just use their own search criteria to find and dig deeper into this case. So I would go under defendant and what was his name? Last name. So last name was Clifford, first name William, search. And now I'm sort of verifying these things using government records, not just any website. So I guess they scraped it off of here. I'm looking for additional information, maybe a full address, something else, not here. Okay, moving on. Now we use people search websites like advancedbackgroundchecks.com or I used here fastpeoplesearch.com. So someone once asked me, fast people, what's that one website you use to find people, all their information? I'm like, that doesn't exist. We pivot off of information and this is how we find stuff. If any website, I usually start with fastpeoplesearch.com or advanced background checks or anything similar. So we search the same name here, we know a location, now we're trying to find more information here. So we see Farmwell, Saratoga. This is likely the same person. Let's look at this. Now here there's a separate address. There's Texas. I saw this before. Some of his relatives are here. I would probably note these down. Alicia, Jessica, because I'm going to need this later on. Billy Messer, a lot of the same surname here. We have a secondary address in Louisiana. I note that down as well. That'll be another pivot. I have a phone number, but it says 2005 landline, probably not too useful, but you know, I'll put it here as well. Can be used as a pivot. PO boxes, useless to me. So using people search websites, again, another one, through people search, I can get a lot more information. This is the same address I had, same phone number. Previous addresses are useful, Laneville, Saratoga. I note down all these things and I note down possible associates. These people will help me pivot even further through relatives. I can't find much more, and I've done a bit of search on this. I can't find a real phone number or an email address or anything else. Maybe he's just not online as much. I take the address, the phone number I have. This would be my next pivot point. I would put this in a tool like this, online search tool, look that up, and I see Cold Spring, Texas. So his name does not really pop up. Something generic. I try a more legitimate data lookup like Twilio, enter the same phone number here, and I get a slightly different name, Shield Dev Corp. Again, not his name, it's a business name. But anyways, I'll put this up in my notes. I may spot it somewhere else later on. Next, when I've done all this initial search, I don't have a lot of information here, but I have enough pivot points. Any one of these can now be another branch that I can go off to. I would next go to Facebook and I would search his name, and his name is kind of common, William, and I don't expect to see immediate results, but I have some information. So I know he's in Longview, Texas, or at least that was one of his addresses. 3 names is usually not as common on Facebook or any social media, so I'll remove those. I still don't see it here. There's definitely hundreds of people with that name. Let's narrow it down to a city, Longview, Texas, and I get exactly 1. So maybe I got lucky. Longview, let's see if this is the same person. high chances this is someone else, but redneck. Okay. Another place, Wath, Texas. I'll note that down as well here. Another place to look for. And he only has one friend, Christopher. Let's go down. This profile hasn't been updated in a while, 2016, so it's not too useful, but again, it's a pivot point. The first ever post was, I need a pass on a criminal case, so this is likely the same person. And another possible pivot point. So from the profile, we don't get a lot, only one person, but we're kind of sure this is the same guy we're looking for. So the only one other pivot point in this profile is now this person here and another image here. Let's start with his only friend, Christopher Clifford. Now, instead of going through all of this again, let's look at his friends. So if you look at his friends underneath, let's see if there is another William. No, maybe another Clifford. There's Jessica, some of these names showed up here. Jesse, Billy, a lot of them are common here. So let's click on the first one. So another pivot point, a friend of a friend with the same surname, likely related. So now this person, Michael, similar, stays in Texas. Instead of getting into his life, let's get into his friends further. Now let's search for, his friends and family. Same surname, so Jessica is likely, related. I look at other stuff like there was a name Messer kept coming up in this list as well. A lot of people with that name. This name has the word Cliff Messer. This kind of looks odd. Is this our guy? Let's see. Cliff Messer was friend of a friend. Oh, he has pictures. This is one of his pictures. Now, does this picture look like the mugshot here? Pretty much. One eye is a little, there's something wrong with it. Mustache with some facial hair below the below the lower lip. If I look at this one, same thing. The eye has an issue, same type of facial hair. This is the same person. Some other picture he has of a child here, probably related. This image, not pretty well, not good quality. A car, likely his own vehicle. Now we have a vehicle. Now we can write that down. Okay, Mustang and another Ford truck in the back. People usually take pictures of their own cars. Another possible pivot point, Julie. We can now look into her life and see. But anyways, we have this person's primary profile now. Now let's see when it was updated. Pretty recent, September 23rd, so a couple of days ago. And it says in a relationship. If you keep reading through comments, you'll see, hey, did I see you at Fuel Max? Okay, so he's active, he's around, and where is he? Lives in Lufkin, Texas. Well, this thing now is your primary location here, Lufkin, Texas, no longer the rest of them. Now you start getting much more information on who he knows. Doesn't have a lot of friends, 136. Some of the same names pop up. Billy, Jesse, Messer, all these were initial names that we had. So now we have a fairly good idea who he hangs out with, where he is from a city perspective, some of his latest images. So we pretty much have narrowed it down. Next thing is we still don't have an email or a phone number. There's one way to kind of guess some of these things. So let's guess it. He doesn't put it anywhere, but we have a profile name here. We can search for different types of profiles, like a LinkedIn or Instagram and stuff with the same name. Or we could try something that's frowned down upon on the OSINT community, a password reset. I'm gonna do it anyways. But if be careful when you do these things, because the person sometimes finds out if you do it wrong. You need to know when and where to do it. Facebook doesn't inform the person. You can simply do a search and then back out of the search and say, oh, it's not me. So this way, at least I got a partial email address. So I know now whatever email I find in the future, it starts with an M, ends with a 9, and it's a Gmail. At Gmail. One more possible pivot point. Phone number ends in an 89. So that I write down as well. Maybe later on I find a bunch of phone numbers. I can narrow it down to this one specifically. Or I could search in a breach and see if that brings me any hits. That's as far as I need to go. Don't go any further than this. But I also had, let's go one step back, his username. So Cliff Messer, that's an alternate name he goes by. Initially he was William Daniel Clifford, so let's add that as a new name, Cliff Messer. Let's search this on Instagram. So let's open up Instagram and search for Cliff Messer. Very quickly you see there's a lot of Cliff Messers, but I've identified the third option here is this little child. Let's click on that. That little child's image holding crayons, I guess, was the same image in his photo stream here, this one. So these two things tie him together, and now we've pivoted onto Instagram without even going, too deep into the search. He only has 3 followers, 2 following. We can go deeper, but now this Instagram profile is something that's kind of verified. So now we put this in. Now we have 2 more pivot points here. Instagram profile and phone number and partial redacted phone number and Gmail. Let's look at the Gmail address. It's M star whatever 9. Let's see if I can guess this. So if I were to put that in here, let's do a Facebook search again. His username was Cliff Messer, starts with an M, so this is likely M-E-S-S-E-R, Messer, and then something 9, probably Cliff. Let's do this and put this in. Sometimes you can guess and get away with it. In this case, Messer Cliff 9. Nope. So that's probably not the right guess. It says put in a mobile number, but actually it is. So let's see what I did wrong. messercliff9@gmail.com. So this was the right guess, actually. So it kind of verifies that, yep, you got an email address, I still don't have a phone number. So I got lucky there, but that's one thing. So now that I know an email address, let's quickly go to haveibeenpwned.com and see, is this email address part of any breach? And that would give us further pivot points. Maybe it's part of a known breach that I have. Oh, good news, no ponies. So unfortunately, he's not part of a breach, so this pivot did not work. If it did, then I would have looked up my data breaches and found out more info. So we're at a dead end at Instagram, and there's still maybe a lot more to do on the Facebook side. But at this point, since we have an email, let's take that as another pivot point and search further. So that's his email address. There's a tool online that'll search through Gmail and figure out if there's anything related in terms of maps or calendars or Gmail photos and stuff. So let's search through that API and see if that Gmail account has any further information behind it. So it gave me some results. I think said account was not found. Let's try that again. I think I had to refresh the page. So the Gmail account definitely exists, and the search will bring up something in a bit. Not found. Let's search this again. Make sure I'm not a robot. And let's see what, okay, so here's the results. There is a Gmail account, there's a Google ID here associated with this account. Let's put that in here. And the name kind of verifies it is this person. Are there any mapping locations related to this? Let's check. No. So another dead end. But this could have been pretty valuable if this person had checked in or left a review using their Google account. We would have pretty much seen it here. So we didn't find anything there. There's another tool you can use for Instagram, is to find out what phone number is behind this without doing a password reset, because this is one of the dangerous ones. Don't do a password reset on Instagram, because they get a notification that can kind of blow your cover. So there's a tool called Two Tatis by Megadose. Thank you for that tool. And what it does is it takes an Instagram username and pulls some information through the API around the account. So it pulled information, his full name came up, which was public anyways. This obfuscated phone number wasn't. So it ends in an 89, which is the same one we had here, 89. So kind of verified both these accounts are the same person. It was verified anyways from the picture, but now we have some more information. Sometimes this gives an email or some other hidden information. This time it didn't. Another tool that's by the same person is Holihi, and it tells you if this Gmail address was ever used to create other accounts we may not know of. So it pings a lot of other accounts, tries to sign up, and gives you the results. In this case, Google was the only one, so another dead end here, but we need to try all these avenues. So very quickly, we kind of demonstrated on how to locate a person by continuously pivoting off of things. And the last one I'll try is, try to sign in. And again, don't do a password reset here. Don't go through all the way. But since we have this information, let's see if we can get some more information from this. So if I try to sign in with this, I won't. Obviously, it's illegal. Don't sign into accounts you're not authorized to. But if I don't know the password for this, I can say, let me try another way. And I didn't really reset it yet. And this is as far as you should go. But I found some more information that there's an LG K31 phone. Let's put that in here that this person is using. So it's not an iPhone. That's about it. I'm not going to go any further. But if you go back to this person's pictures, let's see if we can figure out if there's a phone here. And if you go to the posts, there's something called collections, images here. Maybe this picture can be geolocated. There's an image right here. And someone else here. I don't see an image of a phone or a screenshot. Actually, here I do. So this picture that he posted kind of shows you the battery percentage and stuff. This doesn't look like an iPhone, and it doesn't also tell you the mobile phone provider, but it does give you an idea that this is likely Android, and this LG K31 kind of confirmed that, and it's putting two and two together. At the end of the day, you keep pivoting until you find the information you are looking for. And we want to be eventually in a place where we've tried all different avenues and we start piecing the puzzles together. We pivot, we keep pivoting, and then one information leads to the other, and this can become a nice big web of information of relatives, phone numbers, emails, addresses, businesses, you name it, and then start connecting the dots like these yellow dashed lines that this information was gotten from here, or this phone number connects to this account. The more connections you have, the more solid evidence it becomes, and eventually you exhaust all possibilities and you also accomplish your goals. At this point, I would take all the case information I have, compile it, and provide it to the appropriate law enforcement authorities. They can now take this further and do the rest of the stuff, like maybe issue a search warrant or a subpoena against Facebook to get the actual number, against Gmail to find out where they last logged in from, that IP address. And then they can pivot from there, get the IP address, find out who the ISP was, and then ask the ISP what their home location was. And in a matter of days, you've located the person with a couple of pivots. This methodology works pretty well, but you have to start off with a goal. Your goal cannot be broad. I hate when people tell me, find out everything you can about this person. No, what are you trying to find? A location, a car, his phone number, his whatever, his how are they related? There has to be some little goal involved to work towards. Otherwise, it's never ending. Think outside the box and think different. Document everything. This comes with a lot of experience. But as you can see in this short demo, if you continue with persistence and perseverance, leave no stone unturned, there's hundreds and hundreds of places to find stuff. Your chances of success are going to be immense. And have a positive attitude. When I can't find something, I take a rest, I come back with a fresh mind, and suddenly new pieces of information pop up. So there can be a lot of fatigue in this. So have patience and keep pivoting. And the most important thing is verify the information. Don't trust everything you see on the internet. The more you verify, the better it is, and just keep pivoting. Thank you.